allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to Tactical Tuesday. My name is Trey Miller with Ghost Tactical. Today's date is October the 3rd, 2017. So, what is going on, guys? I don't know why my lower third kind of went away, but let me get it back real quick. As I do that, I'm going to introduce the guys in the room real quick. From South Carolina, we've got Night Strike. What's going on, my man?
Not much, not much. Was that the Pledge of Allegiance by John Wayne?
Yes, it was.
Good choice. Good choice.
Thank you very much.
Always good to hear the Duke.
What's that?
Always good to hear the Duke.
Oh, yeah. And from the great state of Texas, my home state, we got Clover Tack. What's going on, my man?
I am well. I'm going to spam my October giveaway link, I think.
Absolutely. Do your thing.
It's a long way off, but.
Well, hello. Let me do this. Let me. Sorry, I'm doing a little housekeeping. I don't know why all of a sudden that it decided to go weird on me and lose my lower third, but I'm going to try to get this back real quick. There we go. That's good enough. We'll go with that. There we go. So, all right, guys, on the YouTube side, welcome to Tactical Tuesday. Let's see who we've got out there so far. We've got Midnight Range TM. What's up, Travis? Rich White, aka the 1%. What's up, my man? Let's see here. D-Temp 62, Deuce Driver, Night Strike. Let's see, Garage Guns. What's up, Garage? Grim 90, of course. He's always over there. He is always over there.
I like getting called out twice.
Yeah, Night Striker, you get called out a few times because you're also on the gun channel side. Scott Pacini, what's up, Scott? Michael G, good evening. How are you doing? On the gun channel side, we got Night Strike, Patriot in the Dark, Garage Guns, Rupin. What's up, Jared? Cycle Camp, what's up? Tell you what I'm going to do is Bill, there you go. If you want in, come on in. Guys, on YouTube side, if you don't say anything, we can't see. So go ahead and say hello when you're here. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask them at any time in the chat, or you can email me. The email address is there on the bottom. It's live@ghosttactical.us. So go ahead and email those questions or put them in the chat. I want to go ahead and start off as we always do. We talk about gun channels, guys. Most everybody in here is on gun channels, or at least have heard about it. But if you haven't, gun channels is a great pro-gun and Second Amendment community. That's it's free to join. It's obviously GunChannels.com. I'll put that link out there. But the thing I can tell you about gun channels is there are a lot of phenomenal people over there with a lot of knowledge. Most of the content creators and show guys that you watch throughout the week are all on gun channels. The cool thing about it is they have a 24-hour live chat that goes on literally all day, every day. that you can come jump in and say hey and talk to whoever you want. So Patron the Dark, also, you said you're having some issues. Well, this may or may not be the place that you want to discuss your issues, but bring it on. I'm sure we can help you. Uh, so
I've got plenty of issues, and it's more or less being in all of these chats.
yeah, it's so funny. We were talking last night on Matt's chat, and I've been on Gun Channels now for, it'll be 2 months on Friday, as far as the dates go, which is awesome. I've loved it. But ever since I've been on Gun Channels, which is an awesome experience for me, but I'm on so many different shows, and between the shows and the live chats, I'm starting to just kind of lose where and when we have said stuff. Is it on a chat or is it in a lobby? I know we're talking about a lot of stuff, but it's just, it all kind of goes into one now. So it's kind of a weird thing for me. I'm sure you guys are used to that, but for me, it's kind of an interesting thing.
Well, the good news is, since it's a live chat most of the time,
Yeah.
most of it is recorded. So if you need to go back and check, there you go.
Yeah.
Believe it or not,
I could do that.
I
You're
have
right.
gone back and watched a couple of the chats we've had just for the hell of it, because it was hilarious.
We've had some good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely had some good ones. All right. I'm hesitant on doing this. It's been talked about. There's not a whole hell of a lot more we can say about what happened in the last 48 hours in Vegas. But I do want to bring it up in case there is something that you guys are wanting to say about it that hasn't already been said. My biggest thing is I love what G Web said yesterday at 8 o'clock in the morning when he first started it, and I think it set a tone for the entire 8 hours that we were on. Um, he said, "This is not the time, even though it seems like it should be. This is not the time to be crazy out there about the pro-gun legislation. There's going to be the media and the left, the anti-gun people are going to be out there talking a lot of stuff about gun control and what would have happened or would this have happened if guns were banned." Um, I will say this: let them do their thing. Let's sit back, and I think that G Web said it perfectly. Let's sit back, let them say their craziness, and we'll wait till the facts come in the next week, 3 weeks to a month. At that point, once we have the facts and we have then a logical explanation and a logical argument as a collective group nationwide, then it's actually going to work out better. Let them dig their own hole. Let them do their thing. Let them talk their talk. And then when the facts come in, we set up a game plan. And as a Second Amendment community, attack, and all that. I mean, like I said, it's all been said. There are no new facts that I've as of a few minutes ago. Nothing that's anything that's not just still speculation. So, do you guys have anything else you want to say except for the fact that we are thinking about the families who have lost people and the injured people, and thank you to the first responders and the people that were there that did help. That's awesome. But other than that, is there anything else you guys want to add to the whole Vegas thing?
I'll let Clover go first if he has anything to say.
I don't, because I haven't been following it today. Once I kind of gear down for the evening or whatever here in a little bit, I may get on and look at some news stories and some different things, but I've been tied up with some things, and it's too early at this point. I mean, I'm really sick of the speculation and the gotcha headlines and the other stuff. I'm wanting sustenance. I'm wanting facts, and there just doesn't seem to be any right now.
Yeah, the Pants is here and the Gun Channel side. What's going on, Pants? Ellis just jumped in on the YouTube side. Ellis, I sent you a link. I don't know where you've been, but it's good to see you. So come on over if you want. to the gun channel side. Sorry, go ahead, Night Strike. You got anything to add about the Vegas thing?
No, I'm fine waiting until you're done. But yeah, are we good
No,
now?
I'm done. Go ahead.
All right.
Hello.
Yeah. On this whole thing, the only thing I really want to get the point across is, my heart and my prayers go out to the victims of those that we lost, in Las Vegas. But please, I know you're angry. You want to blame someone for this, but the person who committed this act is the one you should blame. You should not blame the upstanding Americans that are on your left, on your right, that go to work with you every day, that, that go visit your same church, that, go to the same social events you go to. Do not blame them if they own firearms, because blaming a regular American citizen that owns firearms and does the same things you do every day is not the answer.
Yeah. It's I tell you what I've gotten frustrated at, and Yankee kind of did a little video yesterday about it, kind of talking about people trying to capitalize on this tragedy. My frustration isn't necessarily there. I tell you what my frustration is a lot of the gun guys that I subscribe to on YouTube, and I don't watch all their stuff all the time, but I get the notifications occasionally. I tell you what really started pissing me off yesterday was all of these channels, and I'm not talking the Hickok and all that. I'm talking the kind of the mid-size that I like watching a lot of their stuff or some of their stuff. But I start seeing all of these Vegas videos that went out yesterday, and I'm all for that. If you want to go live, or if you want to do a created video to send out your warm wishes to the families, to the victims, and the ones that are still in the hospital, I'm all for it. But you know what really pisses me off is if you're going to sit there and go in front of a camera and you're going to try to talk from your heart, don't make it so damn obvious that you're reading a fucking script. I mean, really? There's nothing more
I was ad-libbing
ingenuous about that,
I was ad-libbing that. That was straight from
Absolutely
the unscripted Night Strike, which, let's be honest, rarely
Isn't
do I
your whole
ever
life
do anything
unscripted?
scripted.
Your
Rarely
whole
do I do
life's
anything.
unscripted.
Yes, but I meant that sincerely, and the problem
I
is
understand that.
you show a good point that some people just go and do this because they've come up with a script because their format is scripted.
Yes.
Whether they do that themselves or they have a producer or something that scripts it for them. But the problem is sometimes when you script something like that, it becomes disingenuous.
Yes, and that's my biggest thing is I actually unsubscribed from a couple different channels yesterday just because I was like, dude, that's embarrassing. And everyone in the world can read right through the fact that if you have something to say that's heartfelt, then just say it. And it doesn't have to be edited. Just do it. But don't sit there and have notes off to the side. You can literally see your eyes kind of going with your bullet points. If you need bullet points to say you're sorry and that you're praying for someone, then just don't turn the camera on. It's not worth it. You make yourself look like an ass. We've got Bill. What's up, Psycho Camp? Welcome to the show.
Hi guys, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you,
Not too bad.
Mr. Happy?
Yeah.
Vegas,
Vegas is like one of my favorite places, man. This is very depressing.
I love Vegas. I got married in Vegas, actually. So, and it's lasted 21 years. Go figure.
I'll tell you this: after what happened in Vegas, I would be honestly surprised if they do SHOT Show in Vegas next year.
You think? I hadn't thought about that, but
because
I never thought about that.
You look at it one way. The city might start going and cracking. The city of Las Vegas might start cracking down on their laws regarding bringing guns into the city. Granted, the city of Las Vegas itself isn't very they're like half and half as far as gun friendliness goes.
Yeah.
So, no, it
I
can be a toss-up.
I never even thought about that. Honestly, I really didn't. That's a really, really good point. That needs to be talked about, because I never even thought about SHOT Show being in Vegas.
And people are calling me out on the YouTube side saying you're an idiot. Night they'll still have SHOT Show. And they may. Maybe I'm just looking too far into things, but I at least have to mention.
It may not be SHOT Show's choice. They might have to find an alternate place.
That stuff is done years and years in advance. Big ass convention centers like that typically plan 3 to 5 years in advance. So
do they usually have a contract, or can they avoid a contract?
Not that they couldn't break it, but I'm just saying typically that kind of stuff is 3 to 5 years. I used to be a member of an IBM organization, and we had 2 majors and 2 minors a year, and we booked 3 years in advance.
Yeah,
because you just couldn't get the venues that you needed, and SHOT Show's a huge thing. So it's certainly possible it might happen, but I think it's extremely unlikely because of the liability the city would incur if they cancel the contract.
Yeah.
Look at the revenue loss as well.
I need to make a correction.
Yeah,
it's not people in particular. It's specifically Smeggy42, because he got pissed off that I said, "Oh, now I'm just people." Well, there you go, Smeggy. I called you out.
There you go. There you go, Smeg. What do you think about that? What's up, Pink? Pink's out there. I don't know, Ellis. Are you around? Check your messages. If you want to jump in, I know you like jumping in, so jump in if you want. All right, guys. Enough of the Vegas crap. I want to jump into. I usually do it in a little bit different order, but this kind of has something to do with the Vegas, but not really. My second for the second comes from Paul Ryan has announced. It's about 1 o'clock today is when this article came out in U.S. News and World Report, which is a pretty good, solid source. So there have been rumors going around that this was going to happen, but it looks like that the SHARE Act is not scheduled for a vote. I'll just go ahead and read this short piece real quick. House Speaker Paul Ryan confirmed Tuesday that consideration of a bill making silencers easier to obtain has been delayed. I love that first sentence. A provision called the Hearing Protection Act, tucked into the Bipartisan Sportsmen's Heritage and Recreational Enhancement Act, or the SHARE Act, would eliminate restrictions on silencers and instead treat them as ordinary firearms. The House was poised to pass legislation earlier as this week, but it was postponed after Sunday's attack in Las Vegas, with Ryan saying during a news conference that the bill was not scheduled. Ryan says the bill is not scheduled now. I don't know when it's going to be scheduled. We cannot let the... Okay, let's see here.
Because he says it's not scheduled now, and he doesn't know when it's going to be.
Doesn't mean it won't, but yeah.
Doesn't mean it won't, but
that's right.
I don't see anything where it was scheduled before. So,
well, he said
I think it was planned. The session's starting up here pretty soon. I think it was planning on being early in the session, but there was no set time. Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I mean, we all know they're snakes. I'm not defending them, but we got to go by the facts, and it's not like it was scheduled and he's pulling it.
You son of a bitch! You're defending them.
You know what?
Yeah,
go stroke your cat. Hush.
We're not supposed to talk about that.
The whole point is by allowing this to influence and making a statement about it, they're giving credence to the totally false narrative that silencers had anything at all to do with this. Again, they're making it sound like anything that gun owners ask for to have their rights restored contributes to mass violence. And the ballless wonders ought to just put on their big boy pants and say, this really doesn't have anything to do with this. And anybody at all who knows how silencers work know that you don't put a silencer on an automatic weapon and expect it to last very long.
Right.
And, it's absolutely, the pure physics of it doesn't make any sense at all. And yet these guys are saying, Well, as a result of this, we're not going to try to send this bill to the House. And Jesus, you just, again, they cave in and they make the Democrats point for them.
Yeah, that's the most frustrating thing of this whole thing. I will say that there was a quote that Ryan had in this article that I did like. I think it was a pretty powerful little 2-line sentence. He said, "We cannot let the actions of a single person define us as a country. Our country is resilient and we will overcome this." That's, to me, that's a very positive statement he made, saying, look, just because this terrible tragedy happened, you know, and maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I kind of do study politics quite a bit. That's telling me, he's like, look, and the reason why I let Clover say that is because I agree with you, Clover. This is where I was going to come full term with this is I think what he's doing right now is saying, look, we're going to go out and publicly say we're not going to schedule this because it would look bad. It would look bad today. The political thing to do is to come out and say, we're not going to schedule this, blah, 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 blah. But then he follows that by saying that one person is not going to find us as a country and we will overcome this. I think that's a very positive statement by saying, look, this guy is not going to take away what our agenda and what our platform, the Republican Party and pro-gun agenda, it's not going to let us, it's not going to deter us from sending this bill through. So let's really hope that that was exactly what he was doing. I think it was.
I hope he's not just being the standard lawyer and trying to do the standard politician and just trying to mitigate the damage.
You know, the thing that scares me is I have, since Trump took office, I am less and less and less of a Paul Ryan fan. But maybe on this one he'll help us out. I don't know.
I seriously doubt it. But I'm getting really fed up with a lot of the conservative Republicans and just everyone in the Senate and the House in general, because look at how our country was founded. Who founded our country? We had inventors. Yes, we had some lawyers. We had, military men with military backgrounds. We had teachers, farmers, plantation owners, all different backgrounds of people. But the point is, for the last, 100, 200 years, we've let the lawyers run our government. And how well has that turned out? Why can't we start voting in people? I know this is a crazy idea, but why can't we start voting in people who are not a lawyer into public offices and into the Senate and the House? And yeah, I know some people say, well, they can't get the financial backing. That's regardless of the point.
And honestly, I don't know if that's real. I'll let you finish, but I don't even know if that's it. I think that the reason why there are so many lawyers in politics is, aside from the political side, being a lawyer, you do have a background in how laws are worded and all of that, because that's really what it comes down to. Is every bill that goes through as a law, it's worded, every comma and every period and every space and every word is there for a specific reason. And I don't agree with it, but I think that's why there are a lot of lawyers that are politicians.
Our country was not founded strictly by lawyers.
No. I'm not saying, yeah.
That's the point I'm getting at. If it was founded strictly by just all lawyers, then I wouldn't think that, them being that all the lawyers in the Senate and the House would be an odd thing, but it wasn't. And the fact that we have lawyers literally running our government for us means that they have, I believe, okay, this is personal opinion, I believe that just having lawyers run our government has corrupted our government and our not necessarily our Constitution, but the laws that get put in place, because they're all lawyers. They're not actual, working class people.
No, I hear you.
They are a step above normal society.
The funny thing about that is this: they're called the House of Representatives. and you have the Senate, but the House of Representatives, one would think, and I think that this is kind of where it gets lost over the last 250 years. Most of these politicians are not a true reflection of their constituents anymore. They have absolutely lost touch with their constituents. They'll act like they are, but the funniest thing in the world is every single time, especially a presidential election comes on, these guys, and I'll use Texas because I used to love it. People have this misconception about Texas. Now, do we like wearing jeans and cowboy boots and all that? Absolutely. Do we all wear 5-gallon hats? Hell no. But every time a presidential candidate comes to Texas, they'll wear the jeans and the $3,000 alligator skin cowboy boots and a starched Western style shirt that could cut you if you. I mean, that's not what. Clover, do you go around wearing heavily starched shirts that and increased jeans and $3,000 alligator boots?
No, and I mean, that's a
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, that's a conversation for another time with me. I've got a couple of good stories with that, especially with my political run here. But this is not the time or the place because we're not on that subject. But
right.
What I do want to say is that you mentioned that our representatives are not always a reflection of the people. Well,
right.
here's the cold hard truth of that. And again, this is going to sound like Clover Tech is supporting the government, speech. And that's what it's turning out to be.
I'm not anti-government. I'm just, making a point.
It's not. And here's the deal. The people are the problem. The people don't pay attention. And what happens is the people in that district or whatever, they don't pay attention to what their representative's doing. So their values aren't being reflected. And then what does that representative do? He sells his soul, in a sense, for some new facility in the district, be it a football stadium or a swimming pool or a whatever, the railroad can come through or the pipeline or, whatever it might be. He gained this, signed off and said okay to, let's say, an abortion bill, being a conservative, because he got a manufacturing facility to move into his district. So now he's heralded by the people that ain't paying attention because that stuff gets press. Oh, so-and-so representative, brings this business into town and creates 3,000 jobs or 5,000 jobs, or so-and-so brings in the new football stadium. That's what gets into the papers. That's what the constituents see. That's and they vote on that idiot based on what he's getting for them, not on what he's actually doing. So ultimately the problem lies with the people.
No, you're right. If we're not electing them, then they wouldn't be there. But the problem is, as you and I have had this discussion off air, on air, I'm getting tired of having to choose between the lesser of two evils. And that's a problem that I think maybe it's because it's the money or they're not willing to take a chance because they don't think they can win. But there needs to be other people step up and try to run, if for no other reason, to get a message out. That's preaching to the choir. I think we all would agree with that. But, I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, if we don't elect these people, I'm not going to say idiots because they're not idiots, but if we don't elect some of these people, then they wouldn't be representing us. But
I'd use the term snakes.
Well, I mean, yeah, absolutely you can. I mean, and not all. I'm not saying that all of them are, but yeah, a lot of them are. Most of them are. But that's just the game that the political arena is these days. It is a game, and let's welcome in. There you have it. Welcome in Ellis, the Outlaw Hatfield. What's up, my man?
Not a thing. Sorry I'm late. I'm on a new device, so I'm trying to figure this thing out. Can you hear me? That's the question.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Are we supposed to? Do we want to?
Does Not Strike want to kiss my ass?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Hey, we do have a statement that was made out by Deuce Driver on the YouTube chat that I thought was pretty interesting. He said 2 of his friends own gun shops, and they've had a huge bump in transfers coming in. Is panic buying making a comeback?
It may be.
Very well could be.
I'm thinking about ordering another Bumpfire stock before they try and ban them.
I've got a gun that's going to be hopefully arriving at my FFL tomorrow. But that was done before this all happened. But
and I'm probably going to buy one of those $19 magnesium lowers.
Yeah.
I haven't decided on that one yet.
There you go. All right. So enough. I really didn't want to spend half an hour on that crap.
Sorry about that.
No, it's not. I mean, it's just I just want to bring that up and all that. But I've actually kind of got our half hour, our midway point. We always do a military moment. This is kind of a cool little story. It's not necessarily current military stuff. But I thought it was an interesting story I found on military.com. This is in Los Angeles, in LA, which is hilarious once you hear this. It might explain part of the story. But in LA, about 100 people were forced from their LA area homes Thursday night, this is last week, after sheriff's deputies discovered a cache of World War II era explosives in the backyard of an abandoned home that had been overtaken by transients. The sheriff's department had first received a call Thursday night about a suspicious car that was parked in front of a home in Lawndale. While they were investigating the call, the deputies surveyed the vacant home and discovered 15 to 30 grenades, shells and other ordnance in the backyard. At least some of the explosives appeared to be active. The home had been owned by a World War II veteran who passed away a few months ago. After the deputies discovered the explosive, they evacuated the homes and the several surrounding blocks for more than 14 hours as a bomb squad worked to analyze the items. Investigators are still poring over the rusty artillery shells, mortar rounds, bullets, and grenades, and working to find out exactly where they came from, how long they had been at the home, and who was responsible for them. Knowing that this is LA, this is freaking awesome. This is what cracked me up. If it wasn't in LA, I wouldn't have thought it was such a great story. But there was an old World War II vet that had a cache, and I'm going to try to screen share this just because a picture from this is hilarious. Let me see here. All right. Let me hit
Deuce Driver, you and me both.
While you're looking for that, something similar happened here. Well, I say here, I mean within, I don't know, 20, 25 miles in a town. Not too terribly many years ago, and I say that may have been 10 or 15 years ago, but they tore down this house in the old part of town, and we're building a new house there and all. And apparently, one of the owners at some time had a crate of grenades buried under that house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Live? I mean, were they still active?
Yeah. Well, some of them were. Some of them were. You know what I'm saying? Had deteriorated or whatever. But yeah.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, this picture here is kind of hilarious to me. I mean, this stuff was
that's cool.
Sitting in the backyard of this dude. I don't know if it was buried or not. I'd have to assume that some of it was buried, but I mean, that's a pretty cool little cache right there that just chilling in the back of, like I said, what made it really funny to me was that it's in LA, and I think that's awesome.
I'm sad that it was found.
Huh?
I'm sad that it was found because knowing California, they'll probably destroy all that instead of send it to museums or back to the military.
Yeah. Let's see here. We got some other big racers in the hizzy. Let's see here. Pink. The Dilettante is in there. What's up, Dilettante? AC. Angry. I think I said angry. And Bob's in there on the gun channel side. Rupin, Roth. What's up, Roth? Michael G. Garage Guns, Patriot, Pants. All the usuals. Yeah, I just thought that was a pretty cool little article. And there's an old World War II vet that's got stuff just chilling in his backyard. And the funny thing is, and I think couples were talking all fair before about we really wish this had maybe gone to somebody. And I don't know if you can will some of this stuff, but it would have been nice to to have seen that go to someone or a museum or something. But I just thought it was hilarious. It's in LA. I thought that was just awesome.
Now, was it in LA or like a suburb of LA, or does it even say?
I think it said Lawndale, so I'm assuming that it's probably a suburb, but I think it's in LA County.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying
County,
if it's a suburb and it was local authorities and some stuff like that, or what, I mean, they may end up in a museum.
I hope so. I hope it. One, I hope it doesn't disappear, and two, I hope it doesn't sit in some, room forever. Do something, like you said, do something with it. Donate it to a World War II museum. If he has,
when did this happen?
Last Thursday.
Okay, we've got a military museum up the road here, and I may give them a call. What is today? Wednesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday, so tomorrow they're open tomorrow. I may call them tomorrow and just make them aware.
Yeah.
Heck, and in case they want to call, you said that was Lawndale, right?
I think it said Lawndale. Yeah.
Might make them aware. Maybe they can adopt them.
And it was. Let me just go through here real quick, just double check. It is the Sheriff's Department, a Los Angeles area home. Lawndale, Lawndale, all one word, Lawndale.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pass that on tomorrow. We'll see.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Real quick before we get going, I wanted to talk about. Well, I guess we can just go ahead and go into the next one. We'll talk about that later. I want to get this stuff in because I think this is kind of cool. The big topic of the night that I want to talk about is self-defense laws. There's a lot of, obviously, with the self-defense side of this, that, and the other of going on in Vegas. I hate the people that sit there and say, well, if they had their concealed carry and they were carrying, the dude was 32 stories up, 1,000 feet away. It wasn't going to matter. But in a normal everyday situation of self-defense, what are the laws? Because understand that even if you have to use deadly force, the chances of you, even if it's in 100% self-defense, there's a very good chance that when the police show up, you will be handcuffed, you will probably be arrested, and you will be taken in for questioning for murder or manslaughter until they figure out exactly what went on. So understand that. But we are going to talk a little bit about self-defense laws and what they could mean to having to use your weapon, whether it's in your home or if it's out in town or in public at a concealed carry aspect. But there are different issues with different things. Let me ask you guys a question before we get going. As far as in your state, this is the reason why I go this. Are you guys a stand your ground or a must retreat state? Do you guys you might even be aware, but are you guys living? So we'll go through the room. Since Ellis and Night Strike are both in South Carolina, you can both or either one. Is South Carolina a must retreat or a stand your ground state?
I believe South Carolina is a stand your ground state and a castle doctrine state.
There you go. And we'll get into castle doctrine also.
I think he's right. And as far as I know, Georgia is also a stand your ground state.
Okay. Bill, in Connecticut, I don't know, you got some weird laws up there, but what is Connecticut?
Yeah, maybe. So Connecticut does not have a castle doctrine.
Okay.
Connecticut is not a true stand your ground state. There is a little wrinkle on that, though. So in Connecticut, you cannot use deadly force unless you fear the imminent onset of death or severe injury, but they don't define what a severe injury is.
Right.
So bigger than a hangnail, less than losing an eye, I guess. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, go ahead.
But in Connecticut, you can use deadly force to stop a criminal felony like an arson or a murder. So that's perfectly okay to do that. However, there is no stand your ground law. You have to retreat, but only if you can do so safely.
Okay.
In other words, you don't have to jump out a second-story window,
obviously, yeah,
in order to retreat. And if you can't, and obviously this is all you trying to figure this out in the heat of the moment, and the jury trying to figure it out in the calm of their coffee cups.
Right.
If you do not believe that you can retreat safely, you do not have to move. So no castle doctrine. You do have to retreat, but only if it's safe for you to do so, and you can use deadly force. And there's a word for the felony, but I can't remember what the name of the word of the felony is. So it's a felony where the guy is going to put other people's lives at risk. So like an arson, you know, a shooting, that a hold up or mass shooting or that kind of thing.
Okay. I guess Night Strike, before you head out, you had something to say real quick?
Yeah. Garage Guns is also in South Carolina, and he mentioned something that I forgot to mention. South Carolina is a stand your ground state. It is also a castle doctrine state, and castle doctrine also applies to your vehicles in the state of South Carolina.
That's correct.
As well. So
I think a lot of states have gone to that.
So I just wanted to make that correction so everyone knew we were all on the same page.
Yeah. In Arkansas, we were a retreat state until 2015, and we are now a stand your ground, and it does extend to your vehicle as well. And let me ask you this real quick, Bill. Since the Connecticut law is, I don't want to say it's weirdly written, but it's very vague. Are there a lot of lawsuits that come up in Connecticut when it comes to self-defense, or are there not a whole lot of self-defense shootings? I mean, is there anything making news up there since it is a kind of a vague law up there?
Well, yeah, and the other problem is that self-defense is not an affirmative defense in Connecticut.
Okay.
They tried to pass a law to make it an affirmative defense in Connecticut, but they have not. So if you shoot someone, you are guilty until proven innocent.
Gotcha.
And you have to prove yourself innocent.
Wow, it sounds like New England is exactly like Old England.
Yes, pretty much.
Who would have thought?
Mr. 1% out there said that West Virginia is a stand your ground and castle, and you cannot be sued for using your weapon against an assailant. Now, let me ask you this. Can you not be prosecuted criminally? I would imagine that you could still be sued in a civil case for killing somebody, even if it's in self-defense. Are you saying that you cannot be sued in a civil court as well? Because that's interesting.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, I think he's talking about he can't be charged with a criminal act for self-defense, for killing someone.
Civilly, outside of contractual obligations, you can pretty much sue anybody for anything, anywhere, anytime.
That's what I was saying. But if that's the case, then I'm moving to West Virginia.
Actually, in Connecticut, we have a little bit better law in Connecticut. In Connecticut, if there is a finding, if the Attorney General finds that you acted in self-defense, you cannot be sued civilly.
Really?
Yeah. So
right, well, Rich,
but they have to make
is it the same way?
They actually have to make a finding. They can't just not charge you. They actually have to publish a finding and say you acted in self-defense.
The thing about civil suits is you might not can be civilly sued for the death of somebody, but you could be. I mean, they could find a lawyer can find another way to sue you. I mean, there's other ways to sue people. That's what I'm getting at.
And the sad thing is they don't even have to take it to a civil court. They can file just different stuff, and that's going to force you to hire an attorney and waste money and time, even though they're not even really trying to get anything out of it. They're just really just fucking with you and making you spend your money on a lawyer fees just to respond to these filings. So yeah, the civil side of it's crazy. It's bad. Let's see here. Angry says some states you can't sue civilly if you are acquitted criminally. Well, a lot of states are like that. A lot of states will say that, but I would say that most states, if it's a true self-defense and it's a good shoot, I'll use the word good shoot. It's a self-defense shoot. Um, you're probably not even gonna get you're probably not even gonna get charged. They'll probably drop all charges and just let you go. I would say that if you're in question and they do prosecute you and you are acquitted, yeah, there are some states, but OJ learned the hard way that California is not like that. He got taken to the cleaners. I don't know if he's ever paid any of it, but he got taken to the cleaners for what, like $40 million or something like that in the civil court.
Yep.
Which he's out, by the way. He got out.
Well, it's not beyond a shadow of a doubt in civil court.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There's a lot more flexibility. And like I said, you can sue for a myriad of reasons as well. So
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It doesn't have to be
that's a
just
whole
for
different ball.
The act of killing someone. It can be for anything.
That's why, as much as we rant and rail and gripe and complain about laws and regulations and things like that, that's where knowing the rules are beautiful, because you know the rules for both sides. You know, and in a criminal situation, you know what you are going to be charged with. You know, you can prepare for all of that. And civil, who knows?
Yeah. Grimm actually says in Illinois, stand your ground. Illinois is a stand your ground state, believe it or not. I would not have guessed that. That's good, but I would not have guessed that. Unfortunately, your stand your ground is probably with a baseball bat or a tennis racket with golf ball or something. Maybe a slingshot. I don't know. Rocks.
In Chicago, at least.
Yeah. But Illinois is a stand your ground state. That's pretty good. Hottie says you're protected from civil liabilities in some states, but very few. But there are some out there. Other Travis says he's watching. He's trying to make this into a damn food chat. Not going to let it happen. You'll be banned if we need be. Let's see here. Don't do it, Deuce Driver. Don't you get him started. Shit. Speaking of OJ, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. You know how that worked out for you.
If he's in here, it's turning into a food chat, whether you like it or not.
Let's see here. I'm going through Southern New England. Be correct. Night Strike. Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine have a little bit more freedom. Bill, I don't know much about the Northeast. Is that true that New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine are a little more pro-gun than maybe Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island and all that?
Yeah, I mean, Vermont always has been. Vermont is permitless carry, open or concealed. Okay. You know, anything you want. New Hampshire just went to not permitless carry, but they just went to constitutional carry, and they honor anybody's permit from anybody else's state.
Nice.
And Maine has constitutional carry, but I don't know if it extends to out of state or not.
At one time, and I may be wrong with this, but it's been quite a few years back. But at one time, I was looking into a lot of this, and they may have changed it since then. But Vermont, I was surprised by Vermont, and one of the things was that you could actually carry a handgun at like 16.
Really?
Which was weird by their state law. Now, federally, obviously, you couldn't buy one.
That's interesting.
Now they may have changed that. That's been many years ago.
Yep, no registry, no permits to buy anything. It's a hell of a place if you can stand the cold.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so what we're going to talk about, since we're already talking about the castle doctrine and the duty to retreat, we've kind of gone into, there are states out there. I would say that there are probably. I think I saw something that said that there are 20 or 25, which is about half of the states that are stand your ground now. Where I would say you asked that question 20 years ago, I'd say that most states were probably must retreat. Arkansas, where I live now, was a must retreat until 2015, and they finally got that passed, and it does extend to the vehicle. So. I would say most states that have a stand your ground will cover your car because that is still part of your private property. Now, once you step foot out of that vehicle, it's a whole different issue. But if you're inside your vehicle, that's going to be covered by stand your ground. The problem with the vehicles, guys, is let me ask you this. would there be a more difficult time to sell the self-defense if you're in a vehicle? Because the first question that the prosecuting attorney is going to ask is, why didn't you just drive away?
Could I do so safely?
Right.
That's going to be the question, without running over innocent people or whoever.
Am
Right.
I in a
So if the
parking
guy had a
lot?
knife, if the guy had a knife in Connecticut, the obvious answer is you should have drove away. You're in jail.
Yeah.
But if the guy had a firearm and you didn't think you could drive away without him corking you through the back window, you could probably make that defense.
Or if you was boxed in by traffic or parking or something like that, I mean, you're running the risk of putting pedal to the metal and damaging property and stuff like that. That I don't think that would be considered reasonable.
Or if he was in a parking garage, up parked against a wall or something like that, and couldn't back up.
Right.
Yeah. One of the first things, if you start researching self-defense laws, in different wordages or whatever, but when it comes to the self-defense and proving it in a court, you're going to have to prove that, to be a clean, good shoot, that your assailant, and what I've always read, and I kind of keep a thing in my car that talks about self-defense and laws and all that, because when I'm traveling, I travel quite a bit sometimes, and it's nice to know maybe what some other states are. So I've kind of got a PDF that I printed out for different states I might be going to, but most all of them are going to talk about the assailant having the ability to harm you or the people around you, the opportunity to harm you, and putting yourself or your family or close ones in jeopardy. The biggest thing is if you're going to have to claim self-defense, and it doesn't have to be a gun, guys. You don't have to have a gun pulled on you to use your gun. Most state laws and all that will say a weapon that can cause. Well, let's find out what this one says here.
It's usually death or severe bodily harm.
It's going to say, well, yeah, it's going to say the ability to cause death, bodily harm, severe bodily harm to yourself, any family, and any bystander in the immediate area. And that's what most concealed are going to have. You don't have to just worry about your family if you're having to save someone, but you don't have to have a gun pulled on you to use your gun. It's not an eye for an eye. If someone has a baseball bat, a knife, I mean, there's all sorts of things that could cause death or severe bodily injury that you'll have the right. The next step is, we'll talk about this in a second, but the opportunity. And they use an example on this thing that I pulled up. If an attacker simply have their hands and feet with which to attack, they would be very close enough to control you and kick, typically within arm's reach. But that does not hold true for what is called a contact weapon. A knife, another object made shift as a weapon, like a beer bottle or baseball bat. And what they're saying is if they have the opportunity, they might not have even actually done the act yet, but if they have had the opportunity, they have shown the threat, but they may not have actually used the threat. If they have the opportunity, that's the next step, is they have to have the opportunity. Just because they have the ability, but they haven't had the opportunity to harm you and you shoot them, you're probably going to get arrested and you're probably going to get charged with manslaughter, because it obviously wouldn't be premeditated murder, but it'd probably be manslaughter because they didn't have the opportunity. Go ahead. It's like someone's going to say something in there.
Yeah, what you're talking about is what they call the three-legged stool.
That's right.
Okay, and the three-legged stool is the means, the opportunity, and the intent.
That's right.
And the toughest one to prove is intent. Because If a guy has a knife and he's within 20 feet of you, but he's not running at you, you have 2 of the 3 legs, but not 3, and that's going to be a tough sell.
That's right.
And the means could even be, there's a 300-pound guy and I'm a 120-pound guy. You know, there's a 300-pound weightlifter and I'm a 120-pound guy. That's means. You know, he has the ability to cause you severe bodily harm. Doesn't even have to have a weapon. In fact, most people are killed with feet and fists than any other, you know, than guns in a lot of cases. Well, certainly rifles. But yeah, what you're talking about is what's called the 3-legged stool. And you have to have all 3 legs to justify lethal
and
force.
we haven't even gotten to the intent side until now. But like you said, that's why that it's very easy to say they have the ability. You see a weapon, they have the ability. It's right there. It's very easy to prove whether or not they did or not, unless you just are in the middle of a huge crowd that everyone's watching. You can probably very easily prove they have the opportunity. But the intent is the hardest part. And that's why you don't just want to go around, if you're concealed carrying, you don't just want to go around throwing the gun around and take and all that. It's got to be a clean, good shoot, or you will spend possibly the rest of your life in prison. So the next part that I want to talk about real quick, which I thought was an interesting thing in the law that they are talking about, is right here. It's called the initial aggressor rule, because this is something that this is where most people, besides this is where most people get caught up in criminal charges, is if there is ability, there is an opportunity, and there is in your mind intent, and you shoot and they have come after you, the first question is going to be asked was, who was the initial aggressor? And if you are the one who initially started the altercation, even though it turned into a clean shoot, if you were the one who caused that person to get in that position, you're still screwed probably, because you were the one who was responsible for that initial altercation, not that person who pulled a gun or a knife or whatever. Even though they came after you and you took care of it, if you're the reason why they pulled that gun or that knife, then you're probably screwed. So, that's the problem with the initial aggressor, is you have to be very, very smart, especially if you're, and I'm talking more in concealed carry right now. I'm not even talking about more or less the castle doctrine inside the home, because I think the castle doctrine is pretty much going to cover you if someone breaks into your home. If someone's inside your home uninvited, you're pretty much covered if you're in the castle doctrine state, because they intruded on your private property, and you have every right at that point. But the initial aggressor, that's a big thing. We had a trial here a couple years ago, that there was a gunfight in Little Rock, and for the outside looking in, forever it looked like this was a clean shoot by a man concealed carrying. Was attacked by 2 or 3 people, the story goes. Unfortunately, later down the line, it came out that the initial reaction is they came after him because he was throwing some racial slurs at him. Well, that goes from being a clean shoot from 3 guys attacking 1 into these people would not have attacked you had you not initiated it. So, obviously don't go start throwing racial slurs out there, but just be very, very careful. That's kind of the biggest thing I'm talking about. The self-defense laws in each state are much different, but if you're considering getting a concealed carry license, make sure you know these laws. And I got something out here. Go ahead if you guys want to talk on. I'm reading some comments in here. You guys have any comments on that stuff?
Well, concealed carry license doesn't give you the right to be a butthole. So
that's right.
Yeah, in
Let's
Connecticut, you have a duty to de-escalate. So if you can walk away, you walk away. If you can calm the situation over, you calm the situation over. So even if you started it, if you
Right.
say, hey, this is getting out of hand, that's it, I'm done. You turn, walk away. If you got witnesses to that effect, and the guy still comes after you, well, you've done your duty by trying to de-escalate the situation. But you're absolutely right, and that's why an armed society is a polite society.
That's right.
Because if you're the guy that starts it, you probably don't want to be the guy that finishes it.
Yeah, you're if you start it, you're probably liable for whatever happens from that point on. Now, Scott out there says, interesting fact about Massachusetts, and Bill, you probably know more about this, but he said there's a law in Massachusetts that if you die while you are appealing a conviction, the conviction is wiped from the record. That's interesting. Now, is that what they were talking about with Aaron Hernandez, the tight end for the Patriots? They were saying that he might have tried to kill himself
Death cancels
while he was
all.
appealing, because then his family would receive the money because he wouldn't be a convicted felon anymore.
Yep.
Okay.
Smart dude.
Let's see here. Other Travis says they have castle there and open carry without a license. We shall issue. We can defend our business without a license. Okay. I didn't even scroll down. Pacini brought up Aaron Hernandez. There you go. Deuce Driver says Virginia allows 18-year-olds to carry. Pennsylvania is 21. I owned a few handguns from when I went to Virginia for college, and I moved back to Pennsylvania and couldn't defend myself with guns I legally owned. That sucks. 1% says West Virginia, you can open carry at 18 and get a CCW. At 21, it's full constitutional carry, no permits needed. That's interesting.
The previous one is carry only. He could have defended himself in his own home, but he couldn't carry until he was 21.
He couldn't carry till he was 21, yeah.
Right.
Let's see here. Midnight, yeah, but Ghost Tactical didn't notice it, so don't count. Why didn't I notice it? Oh, the sandwiches?
No, the good point he made about kicking somebody in the face with shoes on, they consider it assault with a deadly weapon.
Oh, I see that now. Yeah. I'm just going back up. Yeah, I saw that. Let's see here. All right, guys, it is 8 o'clock, and I know that Night Strike's going to wait a few minutes for us. It's kind of been a weird week, and the last 48 hours has been to where I've been watching more stuff on TV and all that, to where I just kind of got into a little funk. Like I said, I started watching people making videos that were very, very insincere. It really pissed me off. I'm sick and tired of the rhetoric about this, that, and the other. In case you guys missed it, G-Webs opened up a chat yesterday morning at 8 Central, and it ran for 8 hours. It went the early show, Daily Gun show, and then on and on and on. And at one point, I think Yankee was in there. I mean, there's pretty much everyone had stopped by throughout the 8 hours. If you haven't gone take a look at it, go check out gun websites and check a look at that long chat. It was a pretty cool thing. Let's see. Rich says, what are you talking about is the fighting words doctrine. Under if someone pushes you beyond what is considered reasonable, you can hit them. If you draw a weapon, it no longer applies. Well, yeah, I mean, you have to have the ability to harm you. Fists are not going to go into a court of law as being the ability to harm you in a lethal or deadly way. So, someone wants to throw fists at you, either get your ass kicked or try to kick their ass. That's about as good as you're going to get until there's a weapon of some sort brought out. Keep that gun in the holster. But if it's fist to fist, I hate to say this, guys, but you're going to get in a fight every now and then. Either you're going to kick ass or they're going to kick your ass, but at least no one dies. So that's a big one. He said it's usually discussed in self-defense classes. Yeah, it is. The pyramid. But yeah, go check out G-Webs' chat. It was really good. If you want a good laugh, go check out Matt's from last night. And Night Strike's going to be talking here. He's going to give me a few minutes, I guess. So he's going to start up here in a few minutes. So before we get going, guys, let's go ahead and go through the room. I'm sorry, I've been in it's been a weird day, and I'll get into that later, maybe off air. It's been a very strange day for me, so I apologize. I am not on my A game today, and it is what it is. Everybody has days like that, so nothing major. It's just my mind is elsewhere. Good news is I've got a gun coming in, supposedly, hopefully tomorrow, to my FFL. So I'll be out to go shoot that. So my day will get better tomorrow. Let's go through the room real quick. Ellis, what you got, man?
Hey guys, I'm sorry I'm late coming in. Like I said,
Yeah,
it's
no
a
worries.
new.
I haven't seen you in a few days. Everything all right?
Yeah, everything's fine. I've just been busy at work and getting home later, and just one thing after another. It's been a weird day for me as well. But yeah, check out GunChannels, guys. Like I've said before, there's a lot of firearms knowledge and a lot of general knowledge about firearms there. So any questions you have, just ask somebody. Be more than happy to help you out.
Bill, what you got, bud?
Well, not much going on. I'm working on my new acquisition. I started researching on the web for my desk review, and hopefully I'll get that done before the end of the week. But maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. I've actually just started cleaning guns because it's the end of the shooting season for me almost. So I usually clean them up good before I put them away.
Yeah, it starts getting here pretty cold here pretty quickly up there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been chilly the last few days, but it's now they're saying it's going to warm up again real quick. So we'll see what happens.
There you go. Let's see here. Clover, what you got, buddy?
Well, when something happens like this biggest thing, I mean, it's important. It's difficult conversations to have, but it's important that we have them. And one thing that I've been thinking about having a baby girl 2 hours away at college, and then having kids that go to concerts and that sort of thing, and in light of the London concert attack thing that went on that we all know about. So tomorrow on Next Gen, I think we're going to talk about, what do you do? What do you teach your kids? How do you train them? Unlike us, they can't carry. So, what type of things can you teach them and stuff that would possibly help not only save their life, but maybe save other lives in a situation like that? Because quite often teenagers and whatnot get together and go to concerts. So they're not with adult supervision. So, that's going to be the topic tomorrow night.
Oh, awesome. Go ahead and plug what the rest you got going on the rest of the week. I know you got 3 shows coming up this week.
Next Gen is tomorrow, 8 Eastern, then the after hours show Thursday at 11 Eastern, and Firearm Fridays Friday at 10 Eastern.
Yeah, my daughter actually freshman year, she's a junior this year, but her freshman year in college, the elective that she chose to take first semester was a self-defense class, and it was taught on campus. And I think it's a phenomenal thing that young girls at college that may be away from the house for the first time, like ever, really, on their own, that aren't anywhere close to mom or dad they can't even get to. And it's nice to know that they're teaching, but it's not there to learn how to kick people's ass. It's literally there to teach them how to get away from that threat.
It's a response.
It's just a response to get away. We gave my daughter a whistle and mace and all that shit. And the next year here in May, she'll be able to start carrying. But yeah, it's one of those that you don't have to learn how to kick someone's ass. Just learn how to get away and clear their arms where they're covering your mouth. Clear their arms where you can start screaming. Anything will help. So yeah, and if you're gonna do that tomorrow on Next Gen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, guys, if you're out there and you know of any single women or young kids or anyone that is interested about that, tune in tomorrow night to Next Gen on Clovertext. That'll be a really, really good one. And it is important because it is dangerous out there, and especially if you're young or younger. Yeah, you've got to be able to survive. So
yeah, and
go check out Clovertext.
With the long chat yesterday and all the conversation since this Vegas thing has happened, it's all, oh, how could you went after the attacker and this, that, and the other, and nobody's really talking about, especially with the London thing that happened. Nobody's really talking about, well, what happens if you're there? And I mean, you legally can't do anything. You're too young.
Right.
What do you do in a situation like that? So,
and that's going to be fun tomorrow night. So guys, check into that one. That'll be a good one. Like I said, I think Night Strike. I just got the notification that Night Strike just went live a couple minutes ago. So let's before we go, let's just kind of go back and say thanks to everybody on YouTube. I really appreciate you guys watching on Gun Channels. Thank you guys. A lot of times it's double duty or you see them in different places, but thank you guys for watching. Apologize for bringing the B game tonight. It won't happen again. It's just maybe in a couple weeks I'll get into what's going on. It's nothing major. It's just, it is what it is. And I apologize, but I didn't want to not do a show. So I did it. I know that it wasn't my best, but I apologize. But other than that, guys, let's see here. Oh, I got a new subscriber. Thanks, Dale Birchfield. Very good. I have not been able to shoot the drill of the month video yet. It's been raining here, which I haven't seen rain in 7 weeks. So I'm really happy that it's raining. I'm supposed to clear tomorrow, so I'm going to get out tomorrow and be able to shoot the drill of the month for October. And I guess I could announce this week's winner was this month. It's about 2 weeks, I guess. We'll announce this previous 2 weeks winner was Kevin Conley. And the reason why I chose Kevin is he actually wasn't the probably the most graceful video in the world. He's a new shooter. And the reason why I enjoyed his video, it was done with a cell phone. He emailed it to me. He was a little embarrassed that he did not want it to be publicized. I hope I'm not upsetting you by telling your name, but he's new to the gun community. And he said that this was the first drill. He said he got a gun, was looking online for drills. My video happened to come up and did it. So I thought it was really cool that somehow, some way, my little video that out there was the first drill that Kevin Conley has done in the shooting world. So congratulations, Kevin. I'm going to send you something special. I'll send you an email, reply to your email here in a little bit, but I'm going to ask you what kind of gun you got, and I might send you something that might help you with that. But congratulations, Kevin Conley, and more importantly, welcome to the dark side. It's a beautiful thing when you buy your first gun. I remember my first gun that I bought, I was nervous as hell, but I was excited as well. But I thought it was a really cool thing that he sent a video in, and the very first time he ever went to a range in his life was doing my drill. So I thought that was awesome. Thank you guys for sending emails in and all of that stuff. And I will try to get the next video shot tomorrow and upload it. So do you guys have anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, that's it. Let's go.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys, and I'll get the drill of the month uploaded tomorrow. Check into Night Strike and Smeggy right now over on, if you're on YouTube, it's Night Strike 1. If you're on the Gun Channels, it's Hit or Miss channel. You obviously know where that is. Go check these guys out. Tomorrow night is Clover and Matt. Who else is tomorrow night?
That's it.
Just you and Matt?
I think so.
Okay, so yeah, I think it's just you and Matt. So check these guys out, and until next time, guys, be safe and Semper Fi.